So tonight I am going to be doing something a little bit different. As you can see, I have set the mood. It is very spooky in here, and I am going to be transforming myself into Annabelle. So I ended up buying 4 wigs, and I found those wigs, and well, I'm just going to show you. So without further ado, let's get spooky.
Step number 1, glue down your eyebrows. So I had an Elmer's glue stick at home already, and I decided to use that to glue my eyebrows down so that I could draw eyebrows in later. This is a step that is not absolutely necessary, of course, but it does help when you're putting on foundation or face paint if you have it, which I did not. I'm just using my everyday foundation, which is L'Oreal Pro Glow, and it is in probably the lightest shade that they manufacture because I am naturally pale as a ghost. So it's not too much of a stretch for me to do makeup as though I were a porcelain doll because we have very similar complexions. As you can see in this video, my light tended to flare for no reason. I'm not sure what was going on with that, but it was really annoying me. I suppose that is what you get when you order your lighting from Amazon, but I digress. So you're just going to blend that in. I was going around my eyebrows so that the eyebrows could the glue could dry down. I'm just blending this out. And yes, I'm serious, this is the shade of foundation that I typically wear. It is probably the lightest shade that they make, for sure. Make sure you blend down into your neck, otherwise people aren't going to think you're a professional makeup artist. So the glue dried, and now I'm just going over it with a little bit of setting powder, just so that it's not tacky at all when I'm putting foundation over it, which is what I'm doing right now. So I'm just tapping on some foundation. I don't want to rub because just in case there's any little bits of glue that are still not 100% dry, if you rub on your foundation, they might ball up and then you're going to have a big mess. So just kind of tap it on, just in case. Next up is concealer. So I am using Tarte Shape Tape, and I am just lightly dabbing that onto my eyebrows, except for right there where I rubbed it on, but do as I say and not as I do. So I'm tapping this under my eyes. This is how I apply my under eye concealer usually. It's just tapped on because that is like a very delicate part of your face. And I do not need any more wrinkles than I already have. So now I'm just tapping it onto my eyebrows to basically make them disappear so that I can draw on my creepy 1920s style eyebrows. Going over that one more time just to make sure that my eyebrows are not super visible. Any other time they're completely invisible and I have to darken them, but for this case they didn't seem to want to disappear too easily. So now I'm going over this eyebrow a little bit more. And remember, this is all makeup that I just already had, so if you're looking for a last minute costume idea, totally doable. So now that the eyebrows are covered over, I am moving on to trying to see with contacts that I haven't worn in a long time. So now I'm taking this brown eyeliner pencil and I'm drawing in the definition lines on Annabelle's cheeks because she has very defined lines in her face. Her face is very angular. So I'm drawing in the cheek lines and then I'm lining underneath my bottom lip and bringing the corners of the mouth out a little bit. Annabelle's mouth is very dark underneath her lip, and it's almost like she has a black line under the lips. So now I'm just outlining the chin. That's also a very defined spot on her face. And the reason I'm using a brown pencil is because black can look a little harsh, and brown just kind of looks like more aged rather than just a stark black line. And we do want to go for that aged antique look because that is just how she looks. She's a weathered antique doll. So now I'm going over it and I'm just smudging it with my fingers. And remember that there's no wrong way to do this. I mean, it's completely up to interpretation. You don't have to be a makeup artist to do this. It's really just looking at it and kind of creating it as you see it. So now I'm going in for those 20s style eyebrows that she has. Very thin eyebrows. And they come pretty close together in the middle. You make a mistake, you just wipe it off. No big deal. Again, this is brown pencil and not black. So once again, if you do make a mistake, also it's a little bit easier to blend it out because it's not a harsh black line. So if you have to blend it and smudge it a little bit, you just go over it with a little bit more foundation and you're good to go. Again, there's really no way you could be wrong on this because her face is it's dirty and aged. So it's not like any little line on your face people are going to be like, well, you really screwed that up because, I mean, her face is not perfect looking in the movies. So now I've got my eyebrows drawn in, I've got the cheek guidelines, and I've got the chin guidelines. And pretty much everything from here on is going to be sort of interpretive. So those are the main things you want to do, but everything else is going to be stuff you can kind of play around with. So I started using this brown bronzer contour kit, and I'm just giving my neck some shadows because her neck is detached from her body because she's a doll. So I was just adding in some dark shadows to make it look like my neck was detached from the rest of my body. And the brown worked perfectly for that. So now I'm just going in with that bone white color and I'm going over my eyebrows to try and mask them a little bit more. It's kind of a vanilla shade from my contour kit. That's the Tarte, I forget what it's called, but it's a contour kit. So the next step is I'm going in with this kind of maroon color and I'm blending out these lines on my face because I don't want it to look like I just took a pencil and drew in some lines. I really want to give it some dimension. So I wanted to do some shading. So I put some shading in with this tan color and it just kind of creates a dimensional look as opposed to just drawing in lines and suggesting that that's a harsher, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, guys. I was just putting in dimension. I'm trying to fill in with talking. You know how it is. If you watch my videos, you know I talk a lot of shit. So I'm just blending out these lines with some dimensional shadow. So I'm going in with that tan color. And it just kind of makes it look a little more 3D. So now I'm just adding a little bit, kind of hollowing out my cheeks. And like I said, Annabelle's face is very angular, she has very sharp features. There's nothing subtle about her face. It's very, very stark. So now I'm taking a darker color, adding more dimension in there. And if you notice the lines on her face, they cast a lot of shadows underneath them. So this really is, it's a good representation of how her own cheekbones cast shadows onto her face. It's part of what makes her so creepy, I think, is that, her features are so pronounced that they can cast shadows on her own face. Also, I'm adding this darker color because I need to contour my nose. She has this little delicate button doll nose, and I have a much wider nose. So I'm just going to kind of camouflage that a little bit by adding some darkness to the sides and to the tip. And then I'm going to bring that darkness up to meet the eyebrow to kind of create a sharper, more angled nose. I have kind of a snub nose, so it's really not defined at the tip. Also, depending on which movie you're watching, Annabelle's face is very dirty. So adding this darker gray black shadow also, creates that aged antique look. So now I'm just going to go through and I'm going to bring that dark shadow all around my eyes because her eyes are very deep set. They're not sunken, but they're very deep set. So I'm just going to keep applying that dark shadow and blending that out around my eyes. I wish I had spent a lot less of this video searching for the things that I needed. So now I'm going to start lining my eyes, and I am not very good at lining my eyes, even when I'm trying to just line them regularly. And all I could find was a liquid liner pencil. So what you're about to see is probably going to... Well, okay, so I skipped it, and that's because I don't really want to talk about it. It was kind of a disaster to line my eyes, and I did draw on eyelashes because she does have drawn-on eyelashes. So I did myself a favor and I just cut out the disaster that was me trying to line my eyes with irritated contacts in. So you're welcome for that. But now I'm just drawing in, I'm defining those eyelashes that I drew on a little bit more. I should have mentioned at the start that I had contacts in, and that was the first time I had put contacts in about, well, a few months, so my eyes were very unhappy with me. So now I was just going through with a little bit more foundation under my eye and just kind of making sure that was covered, because I did end up having to wipe off some of the foundation on my right eye. So this is actually Tarte Lip Lingerie, and I am just using that to do the pink staining on her cheeks, because it was almost a perfect match color-wise. And I promise you, I am unintentionally using my middle fingers. I realized that while I was editing, but at this point, there was really nothing I could do about it. So now I'm just lining my waterline with a white pencil, just to make my eyes a little bigger. Not that they need to be much bigger, but I had it laying around and I figured it would be a good step. This was one of those things where even though I was prepared to do this video, I just felt like everything kept going wrong. So now I'm going in and I'm just going around where I put the shadow, and I'm just adding some white highlights, again to make it look like that kind of dirty porcelain. Because her face is white, it's like whitish flesh colored, so I just wanted to add some further dimension to that. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to finish doing the darkness around her eyes. So again, her eyes are not necessarily sunken, but they are in very dark hollows. So I went in with like a grayish brown. I think it was a mixture of the two. And I'm just going to kind of gray out my whole eye area. It also helps to camouflage my eyebrows a little bit. Now, I don't have blue eyes, I have green eyes, but Annabelle has blue eyes, but, you know, work with what you got. That's the whole point of this video, is that I didn't go out and buy any makeup, and at the end I'm going to have a perfectly acceptable Halloween costume. And as you can see, it doesn't require any special makeup skills, because anybody could literally do what I'm doing right now. This is totally open to interpretation. Like I said, if you feel like something could be done differently, or you wanted to add your own twist to it, that's the fun of makeup, is everybody has a different vision. I apologize for that face that I'm making. I don't know what that is. Apparently, I make that face when I'm putting on makeup. I rarely watch myself put on makeup, so I'm just as confused and disturbed as you. So I'm just putting some finishing touches on narrowing my nose. And again, when I did these lines, I definitely stuck with grays and browns, just to keep everything subtle. I didn't go in with any sheer black. I didn't want to look like a skeleton. I just wanted to give the illusion of age and shadow. So now I was just hollowing out the temple area a little bit. As you can tell, there's really no rhyme or reason to how I apply this. I just kind of do as I notice what needs to be done. I'm also hollowing out underneath the lip a little bit, just to create the illusion of a shadow underneath my lip, and also to age my my lip line a little bit. That's the one very distinct feature on Annabelle, is that she has that very deep shadowed line underneath her lip. Finishing touch is going to be this Kat Von D lipstick in this blood red shade. Now I got to make it look like I have lips. And now I'm going to draw the actual line of where the doll head meets the doll body. Again, doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Even though I just smudged the hell out of that, it's fine. You get the idea. Now I'm going in with just a black, and then I'm kind of deepening the shadows there so that it looks like there's, movement for my neck and head. Now I'm highlighting. That's the final step, is highlighting some of the areas with that white pencil again. And it just kind of gives the illusion of like a pale white, almost like a shiny plasticky look to the makeup. Just kind of makes everything pop too, I think. Just smudging that out with my fingers. And now I'm adding some highlight. And it's just like a highlighting eyeshadow. That's it. And I was just putting that highlight anywhere where there was not shadows, just to make it stand out a little more and give it that kind of plasticky look. I know I said the white pencil was the final step, and I said that like 3 steps ago. So now I'm just putting on some mascara, and I'm pretty sure this is the final step. For real this time. Nope, I lied again. I'm putting the little crack. She has like a little crack or a divot in her face. And now here we are. Wig on. Creepy poses. I probably should have taken off the Fitbit, huh? That really doesn't help to sell it. And yes, that is the same wig from earlier, by the way. Alright guys, that's it. Annabelle with everyday makeup. Hope you enjoyed it.